Well, how can you publish a book with no content in it? Can you actually sell books with no content inside it?
I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, are we going to talk about that today?
Sure.
Well, then you better stay
Tuned.
Welcome to Self-Publishing with Dale.
And Kelly.
And if you want to publish your message, build your brand, and fulfill your ambition, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single one of these different releases and these live streams that happen every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, look, we're going to go ahead and jump right into some plugs. If you do enjoy this content, you're going to probably enjoy this little lady right on over here.
Oh! Don't forget to go over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel for some short, succinct videos, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Kelly Publish, or go to selfpublishingwithdale.com/Kelly.
There you go, yes. And hey, this next week, folks, we actually are going to talk about how to market a book. And you're going to want to tune in. That's Thursday, May 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Marketing My Book, How to Promote a Book on Amazon. So do not miss out on that. That actually is a viewer suggested one. And actually this past week, and we're going to just go through this really fast, the contest is still out there. We are taking viewer submissions, viewer choices. And here's the deal. If we select the specific theme or the questions that you have for a live broadcast, you will get one free month over at Extra Extra. That's the Extra Extra videos over on my website, selfpublishingwithdale.com/extra. And normally that's about $4.99 per month, but for those of you that actually contribute, you will actually get 1 month free. Listen, you know, you can email me at Dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com to submit your ideas, or you can even just drop them in the comments. Unfortunately, the live comments, it won't work. I'm sorry, I can't track those later on. It's really tough for me. So if you just get a hold of me at Dale@selfpublishingwithdale.com, this is not going to opt you into an email list. Promise you. It's like literally. And with the extra videos, you get to see exclusive, uncut interviews. You get old videos, some stuff on formatting with Microsoft Word. So a lot of people are always kind of wondering, how do I format with Microsoft Word? Well, there you go. So today, there was 3 people that won. Okay, they all pretty much submitted the same idea, because we're going to talk today about one of Kelly's favorite things: no content books, 0 content books. We're going to tell you what that is in just a moment here. But before we do, I want to acknowledge 3 people. First of all, my boy Alvaro Parapinto, Mary Hirose, and Kevin McGuire. They all 3 of them suggested something with no content books. Now, you guys all had your very specific questions, so we're going to hopefully address that in the broadcast. So if you're kind of thinking of some great viewers' choice ideas, email them to me. And no matter how crazy you might think it might be, we're going to go ahead and pull some names. Next week's winner actually was Gary McPherson. Gary actually has a Twitch channel, and he suggested how to market a book, and we're going to go ahead and discuss that. We've got one other winner. He's in the wings right now. That's going to be saved for the week after next. So if you would like to enter to get 1 month of free extra videos, all you got to do is just hit me up. Drop it inside the comments. We definitely love to hear from you. Who's in the house, Kelly?
Ben Gothard stroking our egos.
Ben Gothard. Of course he's...
And
You shut it off too fast.
I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
Risa Faye, good to see you. Gary Nafis, Kevin McGuire. I don't know how to say that next one. I'm not even going to try. The lady writes, I'll try for our podcasters. Father Elgwin O.M. Sorry if I don't know how to say.
Father M. We're just going to go ahead and refer to you as that. So 0 content or little content, we're going to discuss that in just a moment, we promise here. We just want to say hi to everybody. Mark Brownless, I see Monique's in the house. Sean Wheeler, great to see you, son of the infamous Keith Wheeler of K Wheeler Books on YouTube.
See, Monique, if we didn't say her, Keith, Mark Brownless. I think we got everyone.
Yeah, we got everybody. And Nafis, I think we might have said something, but it's great. So those of you that are just, coming in here to the live chat, or if you're hearing this on the replay, join us live because we have a lot of fun.
Mr. Canadian Darren Wiggins himself.
Banana sticker for the Saskatchewanian. Darren Wiggins is in the house.
And Knitting Mama, good to see you.
Great to see you pop in here, Knitting Mama. So we're going to talk about zero content books. And the beautiful thing is, unlike last week where I completely lost track of things, I've got my cheat sheet here in front of me to make sure that I don't skip over any important details. Because today is a really hot topic. Kelly, give us a little bit of the 411. You've got a new YouTube channel. We already discussed that. But what was the motivation behind you getting that more recently? What was the thing that just tipped the apple cart, got you to finally do the YouTube thing?
I don't know if you even know this story, but I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago, probably it was a month by now, and someone said on it, if you have information that could help someone out, you're doing a disservice to the world by keeping it inside.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, he didn't say that. So I was like, wait a minute, I've been keeping this to myself for too long. There's still aspects of it that I won't share because I've spent thousands of hours on this. But I'll still share the basic concept of no content books because I think it could help a lot of people out. But that was the tipping point.
The tipping point, and more recently, of course, was your appearance on Catherine Shelton's YouTube channel. There's a link to that inside the video description here, or inside the description if you're on the podcast. You should be able to see a link to that video. Go back, watch it. It's got some great information. I actually went back and watched and commented on myself. Mm-hmm. So Catherine's a really, really good gal. I'd highly recommend you check out her YouTube channel as well while you're at it. But in any event, let's just jump right into things and talk a little bit about no content and what exactly it is. The truth behind no content books, because what's the deal? Is this a scam? Is this something that's a scam? See, here the thing is, Kelly, tell people, what are zero content books? No content books, zero content books, they're one and the same, correct?
In summary, it's for people who don't like to write, which is why I have gone so deep in them. But they're pretty much journals, diaries, planners, sketchbooks, blank content books, like pretty much in general anything beyond the whole paragraph written stuff.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing is, people are always needing it. In fact, I've got a handful of them over here on my desk that I keep, a lot of my notes. I've got one for my financial planning. I've got one for just jotting notes down. I've got one for video ideas. So there is a need. There is an audience. Isn't this like one as well? That's right behind us?
Yeah.
So there's another one. Trust the process, enjoy the journey is one of them she has out there. People love to have those type of things. Actually, I used to work with a nurse. She was always she was never content with just normal spiral bound notebooks. She wanted to have like inspirational quotes on it or inside it and things like that. So there is a need. So those of you that out there are kind of going, this is a scam. See, calm down. It actually is a need for it.
Journals is at least $1 million business, if not billion-dollar business.
Right. It slips right in there to the print, the print world. It's fact. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you've got sketchbooks, anything that just pretty much requires a fill-in element of some sort. I guess, we could kind of say, what would you say? Coloring books? Do coloring books count as no content?
I don't care what they're classified as.
Okay. So it doesn't require the traditional me writing out a book.
It's a drawing book.
So, but any event, so the distribution platforms, I think everybody can kind of figure this one out. One of Kelly's favorite ones is
CreateSpace.
Yeah.
It just happens. It's pretty easy to upload. I've got the process down. And that and KDP is the highest royalties on the market that I found. Unless you do drop shipping.
Yeah, and you've got Lulu, Barnes & Noble Press, which is formerly known as Nook Press. If you ever hear us say Nook Press, my apologies. They just recently changed it to just Barnes & Noble Press. There's also Ingram Spark. Remember, you're going to still need your own ISBN if you upload over to Ingram Spark. So it's up to you. Do you want, it's a risk versus reward. If you know there's going to be some people that are going to buy it, obviously it's going to be worth getting, and doing it on Ingram Spark. And they've got pretty wide distribution. But pretty much just about any of those distribution panels that we've talked about in the past, essentially any print distributor can fulfill the no content books. So what about the costs, royalties, and payouts?
I mean, it depends on where you give it to. That's not the right word, but Amazon's the highest, of course, because you're pretty much publishing on their platform. But also depends on how thick your book is and a whole wide variety of things.
Right. So it's still it's just like any old regular print book. Based on the number of pages and the cut, it's going to be charged
nothing
differently.
changes just because there's no words. You're not
Right.
charged per word. It's pages, so it doesn't matter.
And in just a little tip for some of you out there. Remember, CreateSpace will not allow, just so everybody knows this, they will not allow for completely blank pages. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, but they will not allow for
there's ways to get around it, but we're not discussing that right now.
Yeah,
this is an overview.
We're gonna keep it on the straight and narrow here. And remember, you need a 24-page minimum to fulfill something like that. And heck, I have some books that sell that have only 30 pages in it. And then some of them, how big have you gotten?
How big is my biggest book?
Yeah.
368.
So almost like a full year style, journal style type thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that gives you guys a good idea as to what you're dealing with. And, you can profit anywhere from as little as like a 25 cents to as much as 10, 15 bucks.
Well, technically you can publish and make it a penny. Or you can profit. I've tried publishing a book for $100 before, off the gate.
Did it sell?
No.
I've had some that did pretty well, and I've pulled in like upwards of $15 because of the demand of it. So just know that there's so many possibilities that lay inside this area here.
But there is, if you just Google probably like CreateSpace calculator or interior calculator, they do have a way you can calculate your profit before you even go into the publishing process. And that's come helpful for me if I decide to do something outside of my norm.
Excellent. Very good. Let's talk about the pros and cons here of this. So, because there's so many misconceptions and myths, and some people don't quite understand this fully. So there are pros and cons to it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, correct?
There are pros and cons. These are kind of a little bit of opinions. We might not agree on some of these, but yeah, it's not all, sunshine, roses, and daisies.
This is true, because actually a couple of viewers had reached out to me more recently, especially about the no content stuff. And I know one of them, and I'm not going to throw this person under the bus, I'm not going to discuss them directly, but we're going to speak about them indirectly. They have 1,000 of these no content books up, but they're selling 20 per month. So you can see it's not just a simple thing of, well, let me just pump out a bunch of journals. It's going to pay off.
Yeah, and I'll speak about this anonymously as well. Someone reached out to me, and they have 7,000 titles, which is, I have about 5,000 on both CreateSpace and Kindle or KDP Print, and they've only sold 1,000 this year. So they have 7,000 in their account, and let's just say we've been through 5 months. So they've only sold roughly 200 a month.
Oof, yeah. I mean, that's, a lot of people probably would love to have 200 per month, obviously.
I mean, it's technically passive income, but it's just a lot of work.
That's a lot of work to get to 7,000. It's not like you're going to be able to do 7,000 within a day. If you're really working and hustling and doing very, very basic layouts, you probably could get away with, if you're a newbie, maybe a dozen, 2 dozen.
I don't recommend anyone rushing the process because in order to get speedy at it, you got to master the basics.
Now, there was something, before we do get into the pros and cons, you kind of stumbled on the word Kindle. Good idea, bad idea. Is it a good idea to have no content books available on Kindle?
Don't do it if you want your Kindle account to stay alive. Okay. No.
So it's a bad idea. So those of you out there, don't take your print idea. So remember, we're talking only print. And I agree with her wholeheartedly on this one. Don't try to scam the system. So in any event, pro number 1.
Low risk.
Yeah.
I mean, financially, and I mean, when you're starting off, I mean, unless you hire a VA, which is possible, you're just, taking time. I mean, they have Cover Creator. There's free programs to make interiors, so there's not much risk to it. Starting
very
off.
low risk. I mean, you compare that to, say, a fiction book these days that you're going to hire out, let's say, a ghostwriter to do it for you, and that can run in the hundreds when it's all said and done as a minimum. I mean, it can break into the thousands depending on the depth of it, whereas something like this is just, it's more about what my good friend Rob Archangel says, sweat equity. It's just putting in that time and hard work.
Yeah.
So, pro number 2, Kelly already said it.
If you hate writing, this is for you. It's just description and keywords pretty much, and title, of course. But none of the long paragraphs. No. Mm-mm.
And and even if you do enjoy the writing process, this is a simple thing for you to do. So minimal writing necessary.
You can even do no content if you really like writing. I mean, there's prompt journals.
Absolutely. So it's just kind of a breath of fresh air, I think, to those of you out there that are like Kelly. It's so funny the two of us are kind of yin and yang, and you can see why she enjoys doing the no content more than, say, I do. I do enjoy it. I enjoy getting paid by it, but nonetheless. So pro number 3 is the seasonal perks. There are certain specific types of books. So for instance, quarter 4, it just crushes. This right here, if there was anything I would say that you try to build your business towards and start to work on, is just work on this slowly but surely, because come quarter 4, if you've really planned everything out, you might get a great amount of sales. Notice I said might. Results may vary per person.
On average, the past 2 years, I've made 2.5 times my normal income in December.
Yeah.
That's been the same pattern 2017 and 2016.
Correct. And we're not going to go too far into this, but we're going to kind of give you a veiled clue, a little bit of a tip here. Seasonal perks doesn't just limit itself to quarter 4. Think about what kind of content you can do based on the time of year. There you go. All right, but hey, I said it's not all sunshine and roses here, because there are, of course, cons. And Kelly, can you speak on this one?
There is lots of trial and error. Bless people's hearts. I know people want, money, and they need to pay the bills, and they want money fast. However, anyone who watched my interview with Catherine, I hope it inspired and helped a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But if all you hear is the outcome, you might not understand the hard work it took. I want this to be all about me, but this will be. I published my first journal January 4th of 2016, and I didn't see $1,000 a month outside of Q4 for at least a year. Yeah. So it took me a good year to see that. And I'm sure anyone would love to have $500 a month, but I was trying to make this my full-time income at the time. So and I know people struggle to get it going, but all I can say is you just got to upload more. The more products you have out there, the more chances of eyes being seen.
Yeah, for sure. And here's the thing: is through that trial and error, you're going to find a lot of duds. But when you do find that stud every now and then, here's the beautiful thing about it is you'll start to kind of know what your winning formulas are, what is winning, because then you can start to think, oh, how can I branch off on this idea? How can I start to go to the well a bit more? So it's a bit of a con. Just know that it's going to take a lot of work. There's some people that crush it, with just dozens of these type of things, and then there's some that has thousands and barely make a dime. It's it's a ton of trial and error, and everybody's experience is going to be different from one person to the next. So
yep.
Con number 2, this is my belief. You're going to see that the more broad and general that you go on something like this, the more overcrowded it is. And of course, everybody sees this. It's the shiny new object. People are wanting to kind of, let's go crazy on this. Well, the problem is, if you just type in journal and the word create space after it over on Amazon.com in the bookstore, you're going to see a wealth of books being pulled up that say journal in it. And so that's where it's becoming overcrowded. And it's just not just that generalized, just journal. it's numerous things. I think the biggest craze last quarter four was what was those bullet style journals, or
There's still a lot of bullet journals out there, and anyone watching it, don't use bullet journal. It's trademarked. But
lest we revisit trademarking again. Good Lord.
I disagreed though, because I also come from the merch world, and compared to Amazon merch, Crate Space is so untapped. But I do agree also, if you just put out a book with a flower on it that says journal, good luck selling that.
Yeah, good luck. You know,
So-
you got to start to think a little bit outside the box, and that's where trial and error comes through. And if you do watch the interview with Kelly over on Catherine Shelton's channel, once again, the link is in the description. She talks a little bit about some of her ideas and how she was able to kind of get some winning ideas. So make sure that you go visit that one. All right, so there's one last con, of course, and this happens anywhere and everywhere. This is self-publishing, people. It's copycats and overcrowded and some people underpriced.
It's print on demand. I mean, we disagreed on this as well. If you find the right niche, you don't have to go race to the bottom.
No.
But I did deal with a copycat. I think it was late last year, but I was able to get it down quite quickly.
What exactly was the circumstance that you found it, and how did you report it?
I was at Summit of Greatness talking to people I just met, and I was telling them about what I did, and I was like, look this up. And they looked at it and they're like, which one is yours? I was like, what are you talking about? Because at the time I was the only one that had this phrase. Now there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And she showed it to me and I was like, whoa. It was so mind-boggling at the time.
Yeah.
Sort of flattering, but sort of pissed me off. But yeah.
It happens, man. And it's no matter where you go, it is the self-publishing industry.
That's just print on demand now. People
Really
are just
is.
copycatting all the time. But know that Amazon typically sides with the seller. So, not the customer. They'll side with the seller in this case because they take trademark stuff very, very seriously.
Intellectual property. Yeah. They take intellectual property very seriously. And if you've got proof, and I know I saw the two covers between one of them, and they just did a slight variation in the cover, had the same exact title.
And
kinda
same
come on, people.
description, and I don't know the keywords, of course. I didn't look those up, but...
Yeah. So at any rate, that is the pros and cons. We kind of covered those things. What do you think about no content books? We'd like to hear your honest and candid opinion on something like this. Could you see this working into your business? And if so, how would you do that? I mean, don't be afraid. Share a little bit of your thoughts on this. And hey, folks, she's looking through chat right now, and she starts to look through chat. I want to remind you guys, head on over to youtube.com/Kelly Publish. That's spelled Kelli, and publish like the word. Remember, Kelly's the last letter in her name is not a Y, but an I.
Hi, yeah.
And you can also just simply go to the subscribe feature of selfpublishingwithdale.com/Kelly, Kelli. And then, hey, don't forget this next week on Thursday, May the 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to talk about how to market a book. Yeah, that's right. We're going to talking about marketing my book, how to promote a book on Amazon. Big shout out to our boy, Gary McPherson. He was actually the one who submitted this idea. We've got another one in the works. It's going to be the week after next, but we're going to announce that next week, of course. And the winners will, of course, get 1 month free of extra videos over at selfpublishingwithdale.com/extra. You'll be able to get some expert interviews uncut. You'll be able to see some old videos. Hey, you get to see my old comedy shtick that I used to do, some of the wacky videos. Yes, this is the non-family friendly things. So this has been a fun broadcast. Any questions, concerns, comments before we start to wrap today's little broadcast up?
Lots of people are leaving comments. I appreciate all the stuff. Yeah, Ben, journals and planners do help people a lot. I'm sure you could work it into your business model. Definitely.
Yeah.
Rose, I do publish them on Crate Space. Kevin, I don't do all expanded distribution. I only, after you put in your BISAC code and save it, I do the top one. I think it's the stores. My thought is, would a library really want some of my journals? So I don't waste a few extra seconds. And plus, expanded for me is only like 2% of my income. So I try to whip out as many journals as possible.
Yeah.
Um,
KDP does it now, yes, for sure. You can do it through KDP Print, and here's a little bit of a bonus tip for you folks is keep in mind that you can now use your AMS for Kindle ads for your KDP Print books, so just remember that.
do you have fitness journals?
Do I have fitness journals? Yes, I actually have a full line of those, Tony. Great question. I did notice that earlier, and unfortunately my brain's kind of saying, oh.
You're welcome, New Book Creations. Whatever I said that was encouraging, you're welcome. Um, let's see.
I see Lady writes, Katrina, it's good to see you popping in here. Are you going to be teaching journals and planners on your channel, Kelly? What about that, Kelly? Are you going to be doing that?
People have asked me for courses, and I'm torn as to what to do at the moment. If I should do a course from square one. I've also thought about putting an over-the-shoulder type thing over on Gumroad. You know, an exclusive video. So it's in the outlining stages. I am going to put out a checklist of my procedure, which is going to be super simple. It's going to be free on Gumroad. It'll be with the video that comes out on Tuesday. People will probably look at it and be like, is that it? Yeah, that's it. So that's my first product I'll be putting out. It'll be name your own price. You can get it for free. And then I'm going to take it from there. I'm leaning more towards the video side just so I can get it out and help more people faster.
Awesome. Very good. Well, hey, we're going to start to wrap things up. Remember to come join us over this next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on a Thursday. You can always just come to the very quick link to it, selfpublishingwithdale.com/live.
Since there's a delay, you might have to repeat yourself.
Okay.
I use Knitting Mommy. I use, what's the Mac version of PowerPoint?
Keynote.
I use Keynote for it. It's so super simple. And yeah, Microsoft Word was just so confusing to me.
So for those of you that are listening, what programs do you use to make the journal pages? Actually, I can give you a few recommendations. PowerPoint, Keynote, Microsoft Word, and Google Slides. Those are 4 very solid ways to put together some good no-content books.
And then if you don't feel like making it, if you're short on time, the link in the description will have the interview with Catherine. Go to that and she'll talk about her templates. So
yeah, that's right.
I think it's a really awesome solution. They're always adding to it. I think it's like $50 or $60. And I mean, if you want to do this for the long haul and short on time, I really recommend that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're going to go ahead and start to wrap things up. In the meantime, and in between time, make sure you hit that thumbs up. And of course, share it with somebody else you think is going to be into it as well. Till later, it's been Self-Publishing with Dale.
And Kelly.
And we'll see you next week.